of the truck?
I went to go pick her up.
She a friend of yours?
She's my cousin.
Where were you going?
To another friend's house.
For what?
Just to go hang out.
Name of the friend?
I don't know whose
hard
house it was.
questions are going to follow. These are easy questions.
Well, we went to go pick up Andrew at his friend's house, and that's where it was at. That's where we were at.
Andrew. Who was he? I know that that's who you are, but who are you in relation to your friend? Your boyfriend?
He's just a friend.
Okay, so in the early evening, Jessica gets in the truck, leaves her 4-year-old responsibility with her grandparents, which I assume is the standard operating procedure in the house, so she could go hang out and have a party. She picks you up. How did you get possession of the truck?
My understanding, it was about like 6 o'clock in the morning.
6 o'clock? How did we get from 7 o'clock at night to 6 o'clock in the morning?
I don't know. Time just flew by, and by the time we knew it, it was 6 o'clock in the morning.
How old are you?
I'm 21 now.
What do you do?
I'm a customer service representative.
So you're employed?
Yes.
Thank God for small favors. What about you? Do you work?
Yes.
So before you know it, it got to be 6 o'clock in the morning. Where were you at 6 o'clock in the morning?
We were going to...
No, you, not we. You.
I was in the truck.
You were in the truck at 6 o'clock in the morning. Where was your son?
He was at home.
So you were in the truck at 6 o'clock in the morning, and how did Elaine get possession of the truck? Jessica?
Because we were going to stay the night at my parents' house, and...
The night was over at 6 o'clock in the morning. I know you have a trouble with that, but it's 6 o'clock in the morning. Now it's morning.
We were going to my parents' house, and they had asked to borrow the car to go to the store, and the store's just down the street from my parents' house, and I let them borrow it. Told them to come back, and...
They never came back?
They never came back.
Is that what happened?
That's what happened.
Well, when she got out of the truck, who got in the driver's seat?
I believe I did. Well, yeah. My understanding, let me put it that way. Because the night, it's a big blur to me. It really is.
Did you just say the night is a big blur to me?
Yes. I don't really remember a lot of what happened.
What about you, Andrew? Do you remember what happened?
A little bit of it.
Well, you want to stand up here and tell me what you remember.
After we used the truck, we went to my grandmother's work to pick up some money for gas.
What'd you need more gas for?
Because I was going to go pick up some clothes from my mom's house.
Okay, so you're on your way to your mom's house. You've dropped her off. Two of you who have a marginal recollection of what happened on that morning because you were both what?
Intoxicated.
What about her? Was she intoxicated?
Yes.
Is that right?
No, ma'am, I wasn't.
Had you been drinking?
A little bit.
The car was in how many accidents that morning?
2.
Tell me about them. Who's going to remember to tell me about them?
A car had backed up into us at APAC, and after that we had left because the police came. They let us go because it was on private property, and we were heading to my mom's house, and that's what happened when we were wrecked.
Now slowly tell me what happened when you were going to your mom's house.
Well, when I was going to my mom's house, I went to under the mall where we parked cars. I went on the very bottom, and then there was
Who was driving?
Me.
Who was driving when the first accident happened?
I was.
What was she doing?
She couldn't drive. She was drunk. I was.
Well, what about you?
I wasn't as intoxicated as her, but I was just...
Yes, he was.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You made a mistake, but you had a baby. You visited that on your grandparents. And it would seem to me that what you're supposed to do is make their life as simple as possible, not more complicated.
And later today...
They're on little mini bikes and skateboards, and I've actually seen them blocking traffic.
Who does that?
My friends.
Is he one of your friends?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was out there that day?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 19-year-old Jessica Ortiz says during a night of heavy drinking, her cousin Elaine Palacios crashed her grandparents' truck. Elaine says Jessica should also be held responsible.
When she got out of the car, she was driving.
Yes.
So she loaned the car to Elaine.
Yes.
How did you get in a position to be in the driver's seat?
She had asked me to drive.
When? At what point?
A couple hours after we used the truck.
Well, weren't you supposed to go to the store and come right back?
Yes.
So why didn't you?
I don't know.
Sit down. All right, let's move on. This truck was impounded. The truck had a lot of damage. It's your position, Elaine,
Yes.
that it's her fault for letting you take the car because you were drunk.
Not fully, but I don't think that I should be held responsible for the whole damages to the truck alone.
Who should be?
I think that me, Jessica, and Andrew should be held responsible for it.
Well, she didn't sue Andrew.
Right.
So you would say that between the two of you, she's also responsible because she let you take the car knowing that you had been drinking.
Yes.
I agree with you. All right, Miss Garza, could you step up, please, and let me see the bills?
Yes, ma'am. You know, the insurance did pay us $5,000 on the truck. The truck in the blue book, it's worth $8,000 and some $100. Her mom did pay.
Shh, just a second. Okay, let me work out some numbers here. Do you still have the truck?
No, ma'am, the insurance took it.
And what you're telling me is the blue book value on the car was about $8,000. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh. Ms. Garza, I believe your granddaughter is partially responsible for what happened on that day. I believe she is at least 1/3 responsible, which means that Elaine here would be responsible for $2,000. Now, Elaine is perfectly capable of going to court and suing Andrew for half. I'm not dealing with that now. But your granddaughter exercised very poor judgment.
Yes, ma'am.
So the case is easy. But I have a couple of questions for Miss Attitude over here. How long had she been living with you with her 4-year-old son?
Since before the 4-year-old son. She's lived with me on and off all her life.
But there was a period of time she didn't live with you.
Right.
That's when she became pregnant?
Right.
When she became pregnant, she moved back in with you before he was born?
When he was about 3 months old.
Where was she living before that?
With her, the father of the baby, but my husband went and got her.
Does the father have anything to do with the child?
He sees him, but does not support him.
So you have two winners. You have two parents who don't support their child, the mother and the father.
Right.
And this one goes out and parties. Let me tell you something, Jessica. You better grow up. You made a mistake, you had a baby. You visited that on your grandparents, who at a time in their life are supposed to be just enjoying each other and relaxing, have been burdened with a responsibility because of your stupidity. And it would seem to me that what you're supposed to do is make their life as simple as possible, not more complicated. And going out at 7 o'clock at night and coming home 6 o'clock in the morning is not what a responsible mother does. Do I make myself clear? Perfect. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I was going to pay for it, and when it came down to it, the plaintiff wasn't cooperative, so therefore we came here to Judge Judy.
The truck had the A-frame was damaged. There was no fixing it.
I feel bad because they always bring it up and throw it in my face.
We had to go pick it up, and there was whiskey bottles and beer bottles.
The police were involved twice, and actually the second time is when we actually got arrested.
They could have had an accident and gotten killed, or God only knows, kill somebody else.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Pender versus Garrison. Step forward, please.
Engineer David Pender is suing children's services worker Joan Garrison for the cost of medical bills. David claims Joan's poodle bit his 14-year-old son Edward while he was skateboarding.
Mr. Pender, which one of these two boys was bitten by the defendant's dog?
My son, Edward Pender.
All right, why don't you sit down? How old are you, Edward?
14.
Who were you out skateboarding with?
My friend Alex Berkemeyer, Mike, and my two friends, Ricky.
You always skateboard with them?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you skateboarding on the sidewalk or in the street?
Sidewalk.
How many of you were in the sidewalk?
One, just me.
Why were you on the sidewalk? Is not an answer.
Seemed like the right thing to do, Your Honor. It seemed
I
like
don't
the right
understand
thing
what you mean.
to
It
do.
seemed like the right thing to do. What were you doing on the sidewalk?
I was skateboarding.
Had you been in the street with your friends?
No, ma'am.
So what happened when you passed Mrs. Garrison, who was walking with her 2 dogs who were on leashes?
I have my skateboard if you would like me to demonstrate for you, Your Honor.
No, I wouldn't. I want you to use your words.
I was riding past her, and then I was swinging my left hand. And
How are
then,
you swinging your left hand?
like this, moving it back and forth, and then her dog bit me whenever it was about at my hip, Your Honor.
Now, were you on a hill?
No, ma'am.
Now, when you were going down this street, did you see the defendant and her 2 dogs?
It was a while until I saw her.
How far away was she from where you were skateboarding?
About 5 feet, ma'am.
When you first saw her?
Yes, ma'am.
You mean she just appeared out of nowhere? Or you weren't looking?
I wasn't looking, ma'am.
And I assume that when you drive down the sidewalk on the skateboard, the reason you do this arm movement is to get more leverage, isn't that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you can go
faster.
So you're going faster, and you're not looking where you're going, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you passed by Miss Garrison, how close did you come to her?
About 1 foot.
And she had how many dogs with her?
2.
How big were they?
Probably about this high.
So there's you going too fast, not looking where you're going on the skateboard, and Miss Garrison walking with her 2 standard-sized poodles?
Correct, Your Honor.
How wide is the sidewalk?
Probably about 3 feet.
That's not very wide. Now, if you had been looking where you were going and weren't going so fast, and if you had seen her walking with her 2 dogs that were on a leash, what would you have done?
Probably just kept on going, ma'am.
Well, that would have been very stupid of you, Mr. Pender. You think that you frightened her?
Yes, ma'am.
You have no right to do that. All right, Miss Garrison, now I'm finished with him. Temporarily.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Because we know what happened. Right, Mr. Pender?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you've got your 2 standard poodles, walking with them. They're on leashes. What do you see?
I was walking along the sidewalk, and actually I've seen this group of kids several times before in my neighborhood where I'm walking. They're on little mini bikes and skateboards, and they actually will, they aren't on the sidewalk, they're in the street, and they will stay in the street, and I've actually seen them blocking traffic. On this particular...
Who does that?
Not me, Your Honor.
Who?
My friends.
That's not nice. Is he one of your friends?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was out there that day?
No, ma'am.
Oh, he's just here just because he wants to come to court?
No, ma'am.
What's he here for?
He was there because he was the one that was helping me, trying to get her. Because she wouldn't stop whenever I was calling her.
Now listen to me, sir. Was he with you that day on his skateboard?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, it's either yes or no. 2 seconds ago it was no, now it's yes. So he was on his skateboard.
Yes, ma'am.
So he was one of the kids that, according to you, was in the street because you were the only one on the sidewalk.
Yes, ma'am.
So he's one of the people that she's talking about, according to you, that was in the street that day blocking traffic.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm walking my dogs, and I see them coming down the hill, and this young man decided to leave the street and ride off, and I actually have pictures of the area. And you can't see, but he took a drive. He got out of the street through a driveway and basically rode his skateboard right into me.
Okay. So he was riding in the street with his friends?
Yes, he was.
No question in your mind?
No.
And then at some point, he went up through a driveway and decided to come down on the sidewalk.
Correct.
And he got bitten because your dog was frightened.
I didn't know what was happening. I was concerned. I've seen these kids before.
Got bitten on the hand? Where were you bitten?
On my left hand, Your Honor.
Your Honor, he showed me his elbow. And
I don't care whether he showed you his elbow or he showed you his hand. Whose fault was it?
Hers, Your Honor.
You're supposed to be smarter than a poodle. I am sure your father raised you in the hopes that you would be smarter than a poodle.
That's right.
So if you frightened her poodle because you were doing the wrong thing, that's your fault. The poodle wasn't chasing you down the street, was it?
No, ma'am.
Huh?
No, ma'am.
That's what happens when you do the wrong thing, Mr. Pender. You do the wrong things, sometimes bad things happen to you. And you got bitten. Just because you got bitten doesn't mean it's her fault. You and I know exactly what happened that day.
That's fine.
All right. Anything you want to say to me, sir?
No, ma'am.
Perfect. Case dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Yeah, this is case number 578 on the calendar in the matter of Cabanero versus Taru.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. Cabanero, Miss Taru was formerly your girlfriend.
Yes,
You have a child together.
correct.
How old is that child?
7 years old.
A little girl.
Yes,
And you have an order of visitation with the child.
yes,
You are currently married, I assume, to this lady,
yes.
and you have 1 or 2 children?
I have 2 children and 1 on the way.
According to your complaint, during a scheduled visitation, you noticed that your daughter had a recurrence of a severe eczema problem that she suffers from.
Yes,
You tried to contact her mother. Her mother had turned off her cell phone. So you contacted the child's grandmother,
correct.
Miss Taru's mother, and you told her that you were planning on taking the child to the doctor.
Yes, ma'am.
Then you went to work.
That's correct.
Miss Taru became upset that you planned to take the child to the doctor. She came to your home when your wife was at home, and according to you, broke your security door.
Yes.
Ms. Taru says you owe her over $4,000 in child support, so what are you complaining about?
The child support's getting taken out of my check. My check's getting garnished every week.
What is the child support order that you have for your daughter?
It's, I believe it's 400 something a month.
How much is this child support order?
$214.
$214 a month.
Correct. He does have another child, is the reason that they take more than just my amount out. He has another child with a mother that also garnishes wages out of his check.
Is that right?
Yes.
You got a lot of children, Mr. Cabanero. You must be very rich.
With children, yeah.
Those are your riches, sir. But sometimes you have to think with this. Do you understand?
Yes.
Now you can stand up. Your name is Mrs. Cabanero, and you tell me, Mrs. Cabanero, what happened when Miss Taru came to your house?
Lena made arrangements with my mother-in-law for the daughter to come over for the weekend on February 11th. And after dinner, I decided to give her a bath. When I got her ready for her bath, I saw that she had whelps on her from her eczema, and she has sores on her arms, all over her chest, thighs, and both eyes, and it was fully all over her body. And when I did give her a lukewarm bath, she did cry that it did hurt her skin.
How long has your daughter suffered from eczema?
Since she was born, Your Honor, since she was 6 days old.
When was the last time prior to February 11th that the child had seen a physician?
On January 31st.
When had it become so exacerbated to cause concern to the police officer who came and saw the child?
It's always been that way, Your Honor. I have a letter from her doctor.
I'd like to see the letter from
Yes.
her doctor.
I got pictures of it also.
I'd like to see the photograph.
Can I mention that it's hereditary, and my sister also suffers the severe disease as well and has the same exact symptoms, and she's 24 years old, Your Honor.
And that was just recent pictures.
I have a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
This letter from the doctor, which you furnished me,
Correct.
says that you told the doctor that Alexa, that's your daughter,
Correct.
was found with her stepsister involved in sexual play.
Correct.
How old is that child?
At that time, she was 2 years old.
And how old was your daughter?
I want to say 5.
So they're baby playing.
Correct.
All right. What I need, because he says that he couldn't get this eczema under control, so we sent you to a dermatologist.
Yes.
Doctor, I'd like to see a report is when you last took the child to see Dr.
I don't have a statement
Well,
with
when
me.
prior to February 11th had the child seen Dr.
The beginning of January?
This is too serious a condition, madam, to wait 6 weeks.
No, Your Honor, I have several medications that my daughter is on that I use on a typical basis.
Did the police officer who responded that day tell you you better take this child immediately to the doctor?
No, she suggested that I take her to the doctor, or she would have, well, yes, actually, yes, you're right, correct. or that she would call an ambulance and have
You're
her take
absolutely right, because the police officer who responded that day viewed this situation as critical enough to say, unless you guarantee me that you're going to take the child immediately to the
She would not
doctor,
release her.
she's taking the child by ambulance to the hospital.
Correct.
So when did you take the child to the
That same day.
dermatologist?
Oh, I didn't take her to the dermatologist, Your Honor. I took her to the regular doctor because it was a Saturday.
When did you take her to the dermatologist?
She hasn't been, Your Honor.
That's neglect.
I have no medical coverage right now, Your Honor.
I don't care what you have to do to get enough money to take your child to the dermatologist. Your doctor, in a letter that you gave me, madam, from your doctor, the doctor says, this problem is so serious and so intractable that I cannot treat the child.
Correct.
So I referred her to a dermatologist, which you didn't take her to.
He also doesn't provide medical coverage for my daughter, Your Honor.
What
And he had
difference
ordered-
does that make? He said,
Because we're
listen
not-
to me very carefully. I read your answer. Your answer said that you got angry,
Correct.
that he was going to take the child to the doctor.
Correct.
So you went over to pick her up.
I did.
And it would seem to me that on February 11th, since you haven't had the child to the dermatologist since the beginning of January because you have no medical coverage, that if the child's father was prepared to take her to a doctor to look into this situation that was unremitting while in your care, you wouldn't get angry. You would say, thank you.
No.
Thank you. Not, she's mine and I'll take care of it.
Your Honor, I did
Listen
take-
to me. That's what a mother does. A mother does not say, I'm not going to let him because that's my job and he has no right to do that. Mother says, if I don't have medical coverage and my husband doesn't provide enough for me to take the child to the dermatologist, if the child's father's going to do that, let him. That's great just as long as the child gets cared for. So the fact that you went over there and made a fuss over there that day is stupid.
I did take my daughter to the doctor that day. I could not take her to dermatology that day.
The doctor says he can't help her. This is the letter you gave me. The doctor
was the
says,
weekend, Your Honor.
I cannot help her. That was a Saturday. Did you take the child to the dermatologist Monday?
No, because my coverage ended.
Is she not following me?
I could not.
Is she not following me?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I asked about the door.
This getting to the door.
Get there faster. I'm losing
And
patience with the door when I'm looking at a behind like this. I'm losing patience with everybody.
And later today,
she got in her car, whipped out her driveway, and drove off real fast. And it was an older dude. He kicked her car.
Nasty.
Nice little kick.
For no reason. Just stupid.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Alex Caballero says his child's mother, Lena Teru, damaged his front door by kicking it. Alex also says Lena is neglecting their daughter.
You got bigger problems than a door. I don't know what you're here wasting your time for with a door for $300 that got broken. I would save my energy and my time off from work by pursuing, if you feel as if you can provide the child with a better situation, with pursuing either more liberal rights with regard to this child's medical care or custody of this child if you feel as if you can provide for the child so that a child doesn't have to have these kind of wilts because these two people can't provide the child with appropriate medical care. Do you understand?
He now provides medical coverage for us, Your Honor.
It's not good enough. I guarantee you that if he was walking around with this on his behind, or you would have gotten yourself to a doctor and had it taken care of.
He actually
Guaranteed.
has it on his knee.
And the fact that this child is 7 years old and has no voice, and you have to be this child's voice, is to me an abomination that you would allow the child to walk around for 6 weeks like this. Now, you want to talk about your door?
Yeah?
How did the door get broken?
When after that incident, I had a phone conversation with her stating that she was going to come over and pick up the daughter. I stated to her that her daughter needed to see a physician that day, and then she continued to call me names over the phone, so I hung up on her.
I asked about the door.
This getting to the door.
Get there faster. I'm losing patience with the door when I'm looking at a behind like this. I'm losing patience with everybody.
She came to the house, continued to ring the doorbell. I answered the front door, and we did have a security screen door. She asked for her daughter. I told her no. And she continued to say, I'm going to kick you. I'm going to kill you. As soon as you come out of here, I'm going to get you. And I told her, if she don't get off my property right now, I'm going to call the sheriffs. And as soon as I said that, she started to pull and bang and yank on the security screen door.
You have a
so
picture
I
of the
shut
door?
I also have a witness that my neighbor that also seen all of it.
Is the witness here?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let me see. Where's the witness?
He's in the back.
Okay, let's bring out the witness, please.
Do you swear to tell the truth in these matters?
Yes.
State your name for the record, please.
Travis Smith.
Mr. Smith, are you a neighbor of these people?
Yes, I am.
All right, I'm going to direct your attention to the 12th of February of 2005. Were you home on that day?
Yes, I was.
Did you witness an altercation between this defendant and the plaintiff's wife?
Yes.
Would you tell me what you observed, please?
I heard a bunch of yelling and screaming.
What did you hear?
I heard, open the door, give me my kid, something to that effect. A lot of profanity.
By whom?
Defendant. At the time, I didn't realize it was actually her that was screaming the profanity. I thought it was the people down the street that were fighting. I came outside, and when I noticed that it was actually coming across the street, I approached her, just trying to figure out what was going on.
What did you say to her?
Basically, I asked, what's going on? Because I'm new to the neighborhood. I want to, trying to learn my neighbors. And
okay, she said, what's going on? And she said,
oh, I'm trying to get my baby. They have my baby, and she won't let me have her. She goes, I have the cops on the way, and I walked her out onto the sidewalk. And I said, well, if the police are on their way, then why don't you stand here, calm down, let the police do their job.
Okay. Is that all you saw?
Pretty much.
Can I mention my side of what he said?
Go ahead.
When he came outside, he asked me, is that Alexis and Alicia fighting again? And I said, no, it's me screaming at her to give me my daughter.
Is that what you said?
No. I didn't even know her name at the time. I didn't even know he had another daughter. That's how new to the street I was.
He might have said Alex and his wife
I
fighting
said, are they
again.
fighting again? I thought it was people down the street.
He had said that they were fighting last weekend, the weekend prior to the February 12th.
No.
She was so upset she doesn't know.
Well,
the only thing she wasn't upset about, the only thing Ms. Tarou wasn't upset about was this.
That's...
You owe him the money for the door, madam, $322. Judgment for the plaintiff in that amount. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I just want to get my daughter taken care of, and I just want her to take responsibility for the actions she did.
I think she's jealous, and because that was her first love, and I came in between.
I told her I'd kill her. She didn't give me my daughter. That's right, I did.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Lang versus Lewis Finch. Step forward, please.
Legal assistant Mary Lang is suing 16-year-old Timothy Finch Jr. and his mother, Octavia Lewis, for the cost to fix her car. Mary says Timothy dented the vehicle by kicking it.
Ms. Lang, it is your claim that this young man dented your car.
That is correct.
By kicking it?
Yes.
Mr. Finch says that it was not him.
Okay.
When did it happen and where?
On February 3rd of this year, I was getting into my car. The defendants and some other kids were across the street, and they were throwing snowballs at me. I then got in.
How many kids?
There's a bus stop there, and the kids, there's a high school down the street, and the kids stand at that bus stop.
So how many
About
kids?
20.
Go ahead.
I then got into my car, and I backed up, and I stopped at that stop sign where the bus stop is. And the defendant was standing at the bus stop, but he was standing out in the road, not exactly on the sidewalk.
What specifically about the defendant caused you to remember him?
He had a camouflage jacket on.
Anyone other than the defendant wearing a camouflage jacket?
No, Your Honor.
Just one?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Mary Lang claims 16-year-old Timothy Finch Jr. vandalized her car by kicking it. Timothy says Mary's got the wrong guy.
Okay, tell me exactly what you saw.
Well, I had to go a little slow because I was watching out for these kids that were in the road, and there was another car coming this way, and I was making a right-hand turn. So I was looking to make sure that I wasn't hitting these kids or whatever, and I saw the defendant kick my car in the passenger side mirror.
What did you do?
I then pulled up to see if there was any damage, and there was. There was a nice dent in my car. And I went back to my apartment, and I called 911. My apartment is right across the street from the bus stop.
Okay. I want to hear what Mr. Finch has to say.
I had detention in school, and I got into a problem earlier in the week in school, so they wasn't going to let me out the building until they knew the bus was exactly coming. So when I left out the school, I was walking down the street, and all you heard was like, oh, like they was yelling, like we thought it was a fight or something. So we walked down there, and then it was like a Caucasian, like a heavyset boy, was across the street, and other kids was running at him, tackling him, jumping on him, and then they was throwing snowballs at her also. And then they was kept on throwing them and throwing them. So
इस बूढ़े किसान को अपने खेतों में से एक जादुई मटका मिलता है। वो इस मटके को उठाकर देखता है और हैरत ज़दा हो जाता है। फिर वो इस मटके को लेकर जल्दी से अपने घर की तरफ निकल पड़ता है और उस मटके में जाकर वो कबूतर के अंडों को रख देता है ताकि वो महफूज रहे। लेकिन जब वो सुबह उठता है तो देखता है कि उस मटके के सारे अंडे सोने के अंडे में बदल चुके होते हैं। अगली रात वो फिर इस मटके के पास बैठा होता है और उसे नींद आ जाती है और वो सो जाता है। इस मटके में एक चूहा गलती से इसके अंदर चला जाता है और सुबह को हजारों चूहे उस मटके में से बाहर निकलते हैं, जिसे देख के किसान डर जाता है और भागना शुरू कर देता है। चूहे उसके पीछे लग जाते हैं। जल्दी से भाग के एक दरख्त पे चढ़ जाता है ताकि अपनी जान बचा सके। फिर वो दरख्त से उतरता है और जल्दी से उस मटके को जाकर वापस से ज़मीन में दफन कर देता है। लेकिन फिर भी किसी ने लाइक और सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया।